Today we are going to talk hangers and supports. Now this entire lineup of things is all very basic and very remedial, so I'm going to buzz through it kind of quick. It's just nice to see it in the application instead of in the big cardboard box. Now the backbone of hangers, no real pun intended, is Unistrut. Now Unistrut comes slotted, solid, and double. Unistrut is available in a variety of different finishes: painted, galvanized, hot dip galvanized, stainless. Sky's the limit. The bottom line is you will get asked for it in every configuration you can imagine. The truth is the Unistrut slot is the same. It's universal and works for everything. So I'm going to use this little standoff hanger as the example of our strut as we use it in a few applications. Like in everything we've discussed, there's two real sides of the world: the copper tube size world and the iron pipe size world. Same thing applies in hangers. If you know what size you're using, then the hanger will match. For example, today we're going to just use 3/4 inch for most everything. So a 3/4 inch Unistrut clamp would be called a 7/8 Unistrut clamp because it's the outside diameter of copper tube is 7/8. So how it goes together, it slides into the slot on both sides of your pipe, and then the nut and bolt on top just squeeze together, and it makes that a nice firm connection. Unistrut clamps can be used universally, meaning horizontally, vertically, you name it. It locks into place and is a firm holder. Now the next would be a cush clamp, or sometimes it's referred to as a Hydrosorb. Ultimately, it's a Unistrut clamp with a big cushion in the middle. It's designed to eliminate sound and vibration and keep the clamp from messing up the tube. Alright, that's kind of Unistrut clamping support. So if we invert the Unistrut, we're going to use it as a hanger system. This is where we incorporate all thread. So one of the best tools ever designed was the spring nut. The spring nut is designed to slide and lock into the Unistrut channel so that you can install all thread or grab or thread all thread into it without having to put your fingers up inside there. All right, moving on from our big boy erector set, one of the most common applications is a band hanger, or it's referred to as a loop hanger. The nut in the band literally threads onto the all thread so you can adjust your heights and lengths. And this here is a piece of 3/4 inch iron pipe. It slides on there. And then the same exact hanger designed for copper or metals like that is a felt line band hanger. There's a piece of felt on the inside. Acoustically, it's more plumb, and it doesn't damage the tube. Next, hanger. This is typically used for more weight or in the mechanical space, the heating and air space, for big steel pipe. This is a clevis hanger. You would just slide the all thread through the hole, nut and bolt it in place, and this hanger swivels and pivots and typically comes light duty and heavy duty. Next hanger, this is referred to as a J hanger because it looks like the letter J. Now this is a very versatile hanger. You can hang it from all thread, or you could bolt it right to the wall and then slide the pipe into it. A J hanger, it just has an open face so that you can bring your pipe in from the front or the side. Now you heard me make the reference that Unistrut is a big boy erector set, and it's really not a joke. The hangers always dictate the piping on a job. So there's all kinds of hardware that's available to make racks, trees, whatever you got to do to support the pipe, it's available. So we sell 90s, 45s, T's, angle clips, standoffs, post bases, everything you can imagine to grab onto a wall, a ceiling, a floor, and bring Unistrut up to support a piping system. That's all I'm trying to show you here. When you start incorporating rod, all thread rod, what you're doing is you're creating a hanger type system. A hanger system where rod and strut are used together is typically a trapeze, like you'd see in the circus, but they drop it from the ceiling and run pipes through the building at different elevations. To extend all thread rod, you simply use a rod coupling. Very basic, very generic. You're just putting two pieces of rod together. Now, to drop all thread throughout a building in order to adapt to the hangers, there is a multitude of ways to connect. Here's a look at a beam clamp. Now, this particular one bolts to an I-beam. This is my makeshift version of an I-beam. You just clamp it in place, and then the all thread will come up through the bottom. And then in most applications in California, because of the seismic requirements, you are to use a beam strap or a retaining strap that goes around the top of the clamp and around the other side of the I-beam to hold it in place. We also sell a ton of a product called a hanger flange or a ceiling flange that bolts straight up or straight down anywhere you want it, and then all thread comes in. And then there's what they call a side beam flange that bolts into the side of the wall, and then you drop your all thread from there. Again, sky's the limit when adapting rod to the wall, the floor, the ceiling. How many times have you guys either pulled or sold super screws? In this application right here, it is a lag bolt with a female receiving end for all thread, whether that's quarter, 3/8, half, it doesn't matter. They make them so they come out the side, out the top. They make tech screw versions for wood studs. Literally, sky's the limit when you need to adapt rod to whatever. Let's look at a riser clamp next. Now you guys see these in long and short ears. Essentially, it's the part outside the pipe, makes it long and short. What I'm doing here is dropping a piece of 3/4 inch iron pipe into a sleeve. I'm using a short eared riser clamp, and essentially it wraps around the pipe and then jam nuts nice and tight, and then you can adjust it to set that pipe in that sleeve, or essentially set that nipple in that sleeve anywhere you want it at any height. The reference riser is when you have a multi-story building. When the pipe goes to the roof, there's a riser that goes up to the top. That's how they set that pipe at every elevation. So short-eared riser clamps are for narrow canned applications, narrow openings, and a standard or a long ear is designed for a big canned application. And I'm going to speed things up because the name is the description. In this case, this is a 2-hold copper tube strap and a 2-hold galvanized pipe clamp. Same thing. Can you guess the name of this one? 2-hold plastic pipe clamp. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. This one's brilliant. This one's called a nail-on, and this is a full wrapped nail-on, so it supports it off the back wall. And then the plastic nail-ons are like a 3/4 clamp, also known as a talon. Looks like an eagle's talon that's holding it in place. And no, color doesn't matter. Different manufacturers, different stylings, exact same principle. This is one of my personal favorites, the Asshole, and no, that's not a joke. More affectionately known as a pipe isolator. In the residential space, when they're drilling copper, PEX, or CPVC holes, everybody uses 1 3/8. The idea behind the isolator is you can put 1/2, 3/4, and 1 inch to that same hole, and this piece keeps it centered, makes it acoustically sound, and holds it nice and tight. Whenever you're running plastic pipe through a wood stud, you have to cover that penetration from the outside with a safety plate or a nail-on. That keeps the drywaller from coming through and running a screw through your pipe. Next is the suspension clamp, commonly referred to as Mickey Mouse ears. Whenever you get a description like that, it almost always befits the product. Any of the last things we talked about, it would be easy to walk over to the shelf and grab it just based on its description. Now, if you ask for a blue banger, you might want to come talk to me. All right, let's talk hangers.